Hi, welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two cheerful Formula One fans. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your fame host, Luigi. And today we're taking you back to the 1975 season, part 1. So let's go.
Fame, is that from the movie?
It is. It's from the movie. It's funny. I saw that movie lots of times, not because I wanted to, but because I had two aunties that were about 1 to 2 years older than me. And guess what? They watched all the time on repeat.
Yeah. It's a good movie. It's like it's a good storyline. It's, the underdog come good kind of.
It's dancing, if I recall, right?
It is dancing. Yeah. Oh, and everyone loved that girl in it. When I say everyone, all the males.
Yeah. She was Latina, wasn't she?
I think so. Yeah. No, she was good.
Yeah, a good dancer, and I think
Very
good looker. But I was of an age where I wasn't interested at that stage.
No, that's true. I just have in my mind that scene where she's in a chair and the water falls on her.
Ah, the famous scene that everyone rips off.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and cheerful. We are cheerful, and we've had a big break. We've had a big break from recording, so it's good to be back.
Yes, I've missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, we do get tired after recording 4 or 5 episodes in a row, and we're a bit over each other at the end of it. But let's honeymoon period right now. Yeah. Yes. So it's to 75.
I know. Let's just. Do we want to spend some time on the title of this, Louis? The Unbelievable Year.
Yeah, we can't
mention it. Yeah.
Yeah. We for some of the listeners, we renamed some of the titles that Mike Lang used in his Grand Prix series books because they were giving it away. And something, I mean, I would suggest, I would almost say with huge confidence that 99% of our listeners already know who's the world champion of 75. And it would take them like 0.5 of a second to look it up. But let's just try to keep the magic,
Yeah, let's try to get the storyline happening, draw people into the tense storyline. But this title actually was coined by one of the drivers. I think that's an important, stolen it from him and how he describes the year.
Yeah. And we'll reveal that at the end of the year or you'll gather it as the year goes on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good season. And to me, this is an interesting season because we're starting to get better quality footage on TV. So I watched the season review that you recommended, Rosa, which is really good. Yep. And I've got some really interesting comments to share about that, which I'll share through the race, through the recordings. But in a way, to me, and I don't know if you feel this way, this season is the beginning of my Formula One experience. Now, I was born in 73, but one of the big drivers, the drivers that are in the front of this, one of the drivers happens to be Lauda in the Ferrari, right? And he was driving in the mid 80s when I started to watch. So this to me is the beginning of what I call the Luigi modern era.
Like you have a pre-Luigi and a post-Luigi, BL and AL after Luigi.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And I mean, Fittipaldi, who won 74, he wasn't racing when I started watching. He's in the history books.
Yes.
So now we're talking about drivers that many of the drivers we talk about, some of them get to the 80s,
Yes. Yep.
So that's how I feel about 75. How do you feel about it in that regard?
Yeah, I guess.
You have that same feeling or not really?
No, mine's a little bit later as well, I think. I don't really start recognising. I think Alan Jones maybe is the person I recognise a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit, a few more years, I think, for me to be like the Rosa era. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me when the Rosa era starts.
I will. I'll make sure.
When the Luigi era start now. So
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we get into the opening and get this show on the road?
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. So compared to last year, which was 74, we actually had very little driver movement with many drivers staying in their same teams.
Oh, sorry, Louis. I was just trying to preempt one of our conversations and find one of our scripts from the past. So sorry, I've missed my cue there.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
there was very little change. It was quite boring
Yeah.
in terms of driver changes. But we did see one big change, and that was at McLaren, and that was with the retirement of the great, I'm going to say great here, Denny Hulme. And Jochen Muss was signed on for the season. I think he raced for a couple of races for them last year as a part-time driver, but now he's been signed on for the season.
Yeah. And look, he was not great. We all know that, but he was a good, consistent driver. And I have to admit, in the last couple of TP seasons, we've had big battles about Holm, more so than when he won the championship.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it's been a long time since he won the championship in 67. So, yeah,
Yes, you do call him a
do you wanna talk
B
about
grade. Yeah,
yeah,
you
B grade
always say
driver.
he's a good B grade driver. I don't
Look,
know.
B plus, come on.
B plus, okay. Yeah, I was just trying to find because we did a best of the 60s recording, didn't we? And we did a top 5 of the 60s list, which I was just trying to find. That's what I was trying to
Oh,
find.
you're trying to see where you put him.
Because I reckon I did put him in my top 5 drivers of the 60s, and you didn't. You had
No,
him as an honourable mention, I think.
Yeah, and just. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of our bigger arguments in that recording. But I mean, his record is like 29% podiums in his career.
That is really
big.
impressive. That is impressive.
Yes.
I'll give
Yeah.
him credit for that. I mean,
Yeah. And he wasn't, I mean, the only 2 years he was in a really dominant car was with the 67 and was it 66 and 67 Brabham Repco engine? They were his dominant car years. 29%, that is huge.
yeah, it is pretty special. And I think most drivers, if you could sign a contract that said, we will guarantee you 30% of the time you'll finish on the podium, any driver would sign that contract.
Yes,
You know,
that's right.
so-
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Which
it is
to me
pretty impressive.
Look, I agree with you. He probably didn't capture the hearts and minds as much as some other great drivers did in his era. But I still think he's a really, really, really good driver. It was interesting in looking through his stats that he only got one pole as well.
I know, we made a big deal. We made a big deal about it. Yeah, in
And it was in
73. Yeah.
And to get 29% podiums with no poles, I think again is a pretty good feat. Like he's come through the field.
It shows his strengths. His strengths
That's
is not
right.
that right pace, which is why I was struggling with him a little bit.
Yeah, you're just one of those flashy people, Luigi.
Yeah, I do. You know what I do remember of Holm, though, and this is not a nice thing, not a criticism, I mean, but not a nice way. I want to remember him as a 67 champion and a steady, reliable driver. But I don't often watch the Bathurst 1000, but I have maybe watched a few hours in my life. And the one time I did watch it was the race he died. Do you know how he passed away?
Oh no,
He had a heart attack during the race. He was driving, so he lived the dream. He died doing what he loved to do. Obviously, before his time, he was too young, to be honest.
Yes,
I remember his car driving, and he just veered off the track on the grass and just barrier gently and stopped. Yeah, and he had a heart attack or something like that. So
it wasn't even a car accident. It was like a medical episode. Oh,
yeah, I don't know how old he was. I mean, you can probably look it up on Wikipedia, but he died before his time. That's for sure. Because if you're still driving
the Bathurst 1000, that's
you're young enough. You're young. You're young.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, goodbye, Danny Holm. I'll miss you.
Yes, we will miss you.
We will miss your consistency. Could rely on you to just finish up there in the top 5 positions nearly every race.
We're losing our argument triggers because it's spaghetti and Holm. Those are the two main ones. I
know.
think.
I think we'll find new ones, Louis.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
Okay, and another interesting signing was Lela Lombardi for March. So this is just the second woman to race in Formula One after Maria Teresa De Filippi did it in 1958. So, yeah, look, we don't mention her a lot during the year because she doesn't really do much. And I think she gets replaced in the March team late in the season as well when, they get a bit more successful. So, but, I do tip my hat at the March team for signing a woman. I think that was very forward of them, forward thinking. And, so we don't mention her a lot. I think she qualifies last. And she actually does get some points, but we'll see it's because of a very unusual occurrence in the race.
Circumstances, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sad that we don't, it's sad that we don't have or haven't had women's in Formula One since
I
then.
know.
Since around this time, 75, right? And
I'm
it's
glad
like,
to hear you say that, Louis.
we're missing out because they've got skills, and Formula One cars do not require the muscle that we once used to require. Like, everything's power, this power steering, that.
Exactly.
And so it's just, I've heard lots of podcasts talk about why they're not women in Formula One. And it's all about the ground route. I mean, this is the one theory I have, and see what you think. But it's about, if you have, 10,000 males going through go-karting around the world, then 5,000 get to the next one, 2,000 get to the next one. And you weed out all the, unless you've got a rich dad, you weed out all the not so good drivers till you get to the pinnacle. But the pinnacle, I admit, does involve a bit of sponsorship money and wheeling and dealing. But you still need to be good to get up there. But if you don't have 10,000 guys on that grassroots, you don't have the 20 guys in Formula One. So we probably might have 1,000 women.
Yes.
And so they run out of people before they get to the top.
They run out of people, exactly. And as you say, the people making decisions about sponsorship and mentoring drivers at the moment are all males. And I don't know that they would actually take a chance with their hard-earned corporate dollars or their time on a promising female. I also agree with you, though, that the road to Formula One for a female isn't conducive to supporting them to get into F1. Like, I fundamentally do not agree with the structure of the Academy F1 competition.
Is that still running? Because I heard the W League.
It is.
It's still, because it stopped getting media, that's for sure. And they went into financial hardship at one point recently. We're talking mid-25 here, by the way, mid-2025.
Because the W League definitely folded because they didn't have fun.
Okay.
But the Academy is different. So the Academy is aligned to the Formula One teams. But again, it's a race on their own. Like, I 100% believe that the women should drive alongside the men in Formula, whatever the one before Formula 3 is. I don't know if there is one. And they should start building their craft. I mean, they're not going to actually ever be able to compete against men unless they compete against men. And they should actually make the tech equal for both, because Formula 2 and Formula 3 don't have power steering, power. They've just got these.
Don't they? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
And so, so they weed out the women in those formulas.
And then it gets easy.
And then it gets easy in Formula One. Like, it's just so unfair.
It's so obvious. Like, when they do the young driver program, they say, oh, yes, young driver has to do 3 or 4 sessions a year or something like that.
Yeah.
They should make one of those. They should, 10 sessions a year has to be a woman.
I agree.
Get in the spotlight. And if they start doing blistering times, even though they're all going to be testing, but they're all going to be doing testing fast, stand out, have an opportunity. Like Colapinto, people like that stood out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't tell me that
sprint races could be women drivers have to be in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, you can't tell me that a woman wouldn't have been faster or a better driver than Latifi. Was it Latifi? Was that guy?
Yeah. Or Mazepin or
Mazepin, and it's just disappointing. And could you imagine how much drama there would be if there are females on the F1 grid? Like, it would just introduce another level of competitiveness with the male drivers. I mean, it's all ego out there. And unfortunately, there's still this kind of stigma about a man being beaten by a woman, blah, blah, blah. But it would just be so drama-filled. I think it would be amazing. But
it'd be. I'd like to see it, and I hope it will happen in our lifetime.
I don't think
they're a long way. They're a long way away still, and I think
I've made a bet with one of our TP guests, Andrew, that we will see it in our lifetime. And he says no. And I said, well, that's forcing me to be friends with you till I die. So, because I'm going to win this one.
And it also means you're going to now look after your body, live a really long time just to win.
Just to win that.
Do you both have to be alive or just one of you?
No, we both have to be alive. So,
so he might go for a quick death and win.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, that's probably another podcast all on its own, Luigi.
I do want to say one last quick thing. Yeah, about March taking Lilla Lombardi. They did that not just, it was good that you gave credit to them. But they weren't doing it for PR purposes, or it'd be good to have women, because this is before there was any value in that PR stuff.
Yes, yes.
In
No, that's
this
what I mean.
era,
They did it.
in this
She was
era, there's
fast.
PR stuff. Yeah, in this era,
Yes,
there's PR.
yes.
But back then, it was done on talent. So good on March for making
Yeah,
a decision not based on money and sponsorship and stuff. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yep. The other thing we do want to call out for this year is that the tyre wars were continuing, and Firestone finally left Formula One. I think they had threatened this for quite a few years, and they were whinging and moaning about, not being good enough or whatever, not having enough money. But this year they actually left, and this then allowed Goodyear to just have a monopoly on the tyres for F1. So,
and there's another link to my justification. This is a Luigi modern era, because Goodyear was in place when I was watching. So, this is where Goodyear gets their hands on the steering wheel fully. Yeah. Yeah, so other changes where there was major sponsor Yardley, which we worked out was the soap company, right?
Yes.
They decided to withdraw from Formula One, which actually meant that McLaren had to reduce the number of cars they were running down to 2, and they were sponsored by Texaco Marlboro livery, so fuel and cigarettes, pretty much.
Well, it's kind of like the beginning of one of the more iconic liveries for McLaren too, isn't it? With the Marlboro. It doesn't look exactly the same as what we recognise in the 80s, but it is the beginning of that look for them. So
another 80s call to
another Luigi moment there for you, I guess. Okay, and Williams lost their Marlboro sponsorship, so they ran their cars under their own name for the first time. So, because I think they used to run it as a Texaco Marlboro car, but now they're just called Williams. So that again is a bit of a lead into what we recognise as a team called Williams.
Yeah, that's right. Or they've gone on and off a couple of times, but this is a sponsorship play. So
yeah, this is a sponsorship.
Means they had less money, basically. It's not a good thing, but yeah.
Yeah, no. Do you remember what colour their cars were this year, Louis, the Williams? I'm just going to look it up.
I see black and white images of it, but not the colour.
Okay.
That's the problem with this Grand Prix book we use as reference.
Yeah,
pictures are all black and white, so you have to go on the internet. And then when you look at the pictures on the internet, you look at it and go, that's not what it looks like here, but it is. It's just grayscale. So.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be in the book that I've got because they weren't very successful in 1975. So Yeah, anyway, I wonder when they do go to their famous blue and white. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
So,
now.
I guess there was a bit of car development with new chassis, wasn't there, Rosa? So was there much change with some of those minor teams?
Oh, there was lots. There was lots of development with chassis. I just couldn't put it all in. But there were new chassis introduced for Lotus, which is interesting because they still had their very old 1972 car running, I think even last year. So they finally introduced a new chassis. And all throughout the year...
I talk about Lotus more coming up. And it's not good, but yeah.
No, and all throughout the year, there's all these adjustments being made to their cars, and this for this driver and this for this driver. So I think they struggled. But anyway, you'll get into that a bit more. Brabham had a new chassis and McLaren, but they were relatively minor. I think they were just tweaking and trying to get the balance right in their cars. But there was like 4 or 5 pages of that in the Mike Lake book.
And not very entertaining, I have to admit.
No.
It was dry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So engine-wise, the Ford Cosworth was still dominating the grid, so not much change there.
Yeah, so the only other winner in 1974, which was Ferrari, that's the only other engine that won in 1974. That's massive for Ford Cosworth. They've just dominated. They did make some notable changes to their 312B and created the 312T, Louis. Can you guess what T stands for?
Yeah, well, that's the thing I did know. And you challenged me. Yeah, and I transverse.
Yes. So they changed the direction of their engine in their car.
Yeah, so I knew it was transverse gearbox. And my memory of it was 90 degrees to the engine. Then when I read more about it, I was right. It was, I didn't know the why, but it helped lower the center of the gravity of the car and made the car more responsive to drive. So it's a real game changer for them.
It was a very big game changer. It totally changed the balance of the car. Yeah. And gave it a lot more speed and responsiveness. So yes, I am looking forward to this year. Although I did before, but anyway.
Well, 74 Ferrari ended really well.
It did. It
But
did.
let's not forget, what was the year where they ended really well and then they disappeared? 1970, they ended really well. They won 3 of the last 4 races and everyone was like, oh, Ferrari's on. And they just disappeared.
They bombed. Exactly.
So there's no guarantee of that here. Ferrari had a good 74.
I know. And if anyone can take a winning year and lose, it's Ferrari.
Yeah, they know how to do the swings.
I know, that's right. And we see a few more safety changes. So 1975, this year, is the introduction of mandatory fire-resistant race suits, about time. And the concept of marshal posts was introduced. I think, the last year, like 73 and 74 saw some horrific accidents with marshals not being in place to, be on the spot. So, and also the marshals had to practice rescuing drivers from their cars.
I think that's good. It's starting to get there. Yeah. Okay. And some interesting comments about car development. I know the reason why I'm mentioning Lotus a little bit more is because they went off the rails in 74 and the reason why I'm mentioning this is it shows how good their Lotus 72 was. They literally reverted back to their old Lotus 72 with modifications, so much so that at one point during the 75 season, Peterson got his car back to 73 specs as close as possible. That just showed.
Gosh.
It showed how desperate they were to find speed, and it showed how far Chapman pushed the limit for the 74 car, which did nothing. So, just giving the acknowledgement that a car from 72 is still mixing it. I mean, we're not going to be talking about Lotus much in 75.
No.
But, they resorted to a car that was quite old now.
Yeah, which is very unusual for Lotus. I mean, they were always at the forefront of innovation and design. I mean, it really was them that created that low car that we see now, like the lying down in the seat and the aero. And I can't believe that they've had to go back to their 72 car for actual competitiveness rather than develop their car further. You know what I mean? Like it's very... Like, I just wonder and we know what happens to Lotus as a company and Colin Chapman. I just wonder what was going on behind the scenes in that team for them to have to go backwards to get pace rather than go forwards. Because that's what they've been doing since the 60s. They've been going forward.
They're going through... Sorry, go on.
The joke was that their cars were, hung together with sticky tape, but they were fast. But, something's going on there. Like, it's not your usual... Like you talk about DNA of Ferrari, this is not the DNA of Lotus in my mind.
No, it's not. And I think it's funny that we mock Ferrari a little bit.
Yes, yes.
They even have a driver change during the season. Not me, society, community, F1 community, the non-Tifosi community.
Yes.
Lotus, we got to call it out. Lotus is having a Ferrari type situation here. They have a driver being dumped that walks out on them and all the drama. Right. Typical of Ferrari. And Ferrari are having a stable year in that regard, like mental stability. Yeah.
And you know what? Ferrari's still on the grid. So I know we've mentioned that a lot. But, Lotus, I don't know. I don't even know that are they actually like in the history of one of the current teams now, Louis? I don't know.
No, they've completely gone.
They completely went.
Yeah.
So
there was some complexity about there. In fact, weirdly, we had 2 Lotus teams about 10 or 15 years ago, Team Lotus and Lotus F1. It was just a mess. So
it was a mess.
That was all paperwork, trademark stuff. It wasn't really.
Yeah, it wasn't the actual team. No. So it is interesting to see them have such a downfall. And I think we talk about it a bit more during one of our races as well. Yeah. And also we welcome a completely new team, the Brazilian Copa-Sucar team, which was formed by Wilson Fittipaldi. So other than the Ford Cosworth Hewland gearbox, almost all the rest of the components were from Brazil. So I think he was getting some good sponsorship there. And it had a very interesting look with like a totally enclosed bodywork of the car.
Yeah, look, the car looks like it would have been fast.
It looks pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't, but it looked it. You know what I mean? And I was wondering if there's a Formula One car you could buy reasonably cheap. Surely this one.
Oh, surely. Surely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And their major sponsor was a sugar company.
Yeah.
Like Copa-Sucar is sugar.
Sugar.
I don't know if sugar sounds like sugar. Copper
Yeah, it
might be
does.
the name of the company. I don't know.
Yes.
Unless
Yeah.
Copersucar is sugar in Portuguese. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
and was Wilson driving? I think Wilson was driving in his own team at this point, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think he was.
I think
Yeah.
it was just Wilson. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like
I
it was
think
just
so.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I was going to mention before we move on, because we're already nearly the end of this episode. Can you believe, Rosa, we've managed to make this
Oh my
last the whole
God.
episode without a race? I thought because we've only got 4 or 5 minutes, maybe I can talk about some of the observations I had from the video that might inspire some
right.
interesting
You don't-
conversation.
Well, people
you-
can then go watch it a bit if they want, but you
Yeah.
don't want to do race one. We want to do the races next steps.
Yeah,
Episode.
do race next, I think, yeah, because this is interesting, I think. You up for that?
Okay.
This is the
Yeah,
second
yeah,
time
let's
we've
go.
done that now, where we've done no race in an episode.
Yeah, I
But
know.
We've talked about the season, so it makes sense. So the one thing I was going to ask you, do you remember in that race, that thing, they had a pit stop challenge?
Yes.
Did you? I timed it.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I timed it.
Oh,
So
it would have been like 3 or 4 minutes.
well, yeah. Let have a guess. How long do you think that pit stop was? You may recall vaguely from watching it.
Oh, I
was-
can't remember now.
Okay, they had 2 teams. They obviously picked, I think, the 2 fastest teams. Maybe it was
Because I
McLaren
think
and Tyrrell.
Ferrari. Oh, was it? Because Ferrari were quite fast in this era. With
They
their
were in pit stops, but they weren't chosen in this little pit stop challenge, right?
All right.
And they had
So
the
who was
2
it?
cars,
Tyrrell and who? McLaren.
McLaren, and they had the car, like, it was on the pit straight, in the middle of the pit straight, like as a demonstration. The cars drove in. There was 1 person on each tire.
On each tire.
I don't know if that's the rule or if that's the rule of that competition, but I think that may have been the way it was done back then.
Yes.
And a person at the front and a person at the back.
At the back.
It was like 6 people total, whereas now we've got like 30 people. And the cars went in and it was 10.5 seconds. That was the winning Tyrrell one. And
wow.
maybe I didn't time it perfectly, because maybe it was under 10, because Ken Tyrrell, the team owner, he was celebrating like a madman. He was so I think it must have been under 10 for him to react that way.
Right.
And they thrashed McLaren. Like McLaren was like 3 or 4 seconds later.
McLaren was really bad. We hear about their really bad pit stops. Even last year, I think we heard about how bad McLaren wasn't there. They put the wrong tire on one of their cars
at some point. Yeah. So this happens. Yeah. So anyway, it's good to hear that pit stops were about 10.5 seconds. Not a disaster. Not as long as I thought.
No, I thought it would be longer. Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of other observations I had was just watching that video. I don't know what the video was called, but it's the 49-minute. If you type in F1 season 75, it's a 49-minute video. It's pretty good. It's in color. And gee, the colors, they were so 70s. Bright, high contrast. They looked cool. And because the cars had a different shape and different colors, it was really cool to look at that.
It was very cool. And those cars, Louis, looked like go-karts. The way they zipped around, the smallness of them, they just looked like, if you watch go-karting now, that's what it reminded me of. And the crowd was hilarious. The crowd were all in like no shirts, all this bare skin everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was very strange to watch. You're thinking, wow.
And just watching them, like one particular race, I noticed at the South African Grand Prix, they were just power sliding around the corners constantly. The cars, the wheels were the wheels at the back were just big, but they were almost round.
Yes,
and the way it looked, it enabled the cars to move a lot, and they were just sliding around. And the first aid people and like, it's interesting you mentioned about they had the pit marshal posts. They were like standing like at Monaco. They were standing right near the barrier, like I would be scared to do that, but. Is it because we've become soft and they were tougher, or they didn't realize? But they saw people go off and kill people, so why didn't they think that?
I don't know.
What I mean?
Especially with all the sliding. Like, it wouldn't take much for a car to slide into a barrier and like jump over, which I think we see actually. So yeah, it was crazy. I know. And even the crowds, some of the crowds are still right up alongside the pit wall. Or
75. 75, still
75. Yep.
And the last thing I was going to mention that I thought was very funny was, for some reason, the recording person on this video, they really focused on Patrick Depailler in the Tyrrell, and they were saying, oh, he's relaxing. And what was he doing relaxing? He was polishing the visor of his helmet, like repeatedly cleaning the helmet. And I was like, okay, first of all, you don't see drivers like today cleaning their own helmets. They've got like a team of people to do that.
That's right.
And then halfway through, there was another scene where they showed Depailler in the pit cleaning his visor again, like at another race. So it's obviously his thing. Like Tyrrell either don't pay for a visor cleaner, or Depailler really liked cleaning his visor and he thought it was very therapeutic and relaxing. So
it might have been his process. It might have been what he did to like get into the zone for his racing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's my recap of the video. That was very entertaining, and thank you for suggesting it, Rosa. And we're ready to get ready for episode 2, I think.
Well, our first race review coming right up.
Yes.
Okay. See you then.
See you next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.